Well, this was the scene on many roads in Toronto after heavy rains brought flash flooding to low-lying areas. Major thoroughfares like Lakeshore Boulevard and the Don Valley Parkway were shut down, with some people forced to abandon their vehicles altogether. Buildings were flooded and thousands lost power because of the storm. For more on Tuesday's flooding and how infrastructure works when water rises, Slobodan Simonovic joins me now. He is Professor Emeritus in Western University's Civil and Environmental Engineering Department. Thanks so much for joining us, Slobodan. One of Toronto's busiest highways runs right through the Don Valley, which is prone to flooding. Is there any way to avoid this in the future?
It's not easy to avoid. The current infrastructure is in place, and it obviously the events like one we had yesterday are going to continue affecting that. However, we can adapt to this kind of changing conditions and do something to prevent the extent of the damage and also prevent the interruption of the services that this infrastructure should be providing.
Yeah, let's get more into that. So in a city like Toronto, which is next to a lake and has rivers running through it, we know that we're going to be prone to this kind of thing. What needs to be done then to infrastructure to reduce the risk of flooding?
I would say that there are kind of number of things that we can do to possibly adapt to this kind of changing conditions. First is to assess what the change is the city exposed to. Secondly, to see how is this infrastructure functioning? Is the services being designed for fully provided or not? Was the maintenance in place or not? And then look into new adaptation measures and see how this kind of changing conditions can be accommodated. We can obviously, in this particular case, think about bringing a little bit more green areas to increase the infiltration, provide protection of the low-lying areas by special measures that can be used during this kind of heavy events. Looking for alternative ways of organizing the traffic and managing the movement of the people through the city.
And I think, a lot of people are looking to this city to maybe try and help with what's happened here in instances of flooding. But what can people themselves do to protect themselves and their homes when flooding like this happens?
I am serving as a Director of Engineering Works for the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction. And our institute provides very extensive library of videos and reports, what can be done at the level of the property to kind of minimize the potential impact of this type of events on the homes. There are some simple measures like introducing and using sump pumps, backup valves, organizing and grading the land around the home in a way to kind of divert the water from the buildings and so on. So I would strongly, advise people to look into all these possible measures and suggestions that can be effectively used and minimize the local impact.
Yeah, a good tip there. Thank you so much for your time today. Slobodan Simonovic joining us as we break down the impact of yesterday's wild storm. Thanks so much again.
Very welcome.